Previously on Input Left.
Dead female, a bit menacing. Maybe Margaret Thatcher. I know she's not really a US political figure.
No, we should definitely, yeah.
What a lovely night it is here in the Floroma Meadows. Hey everybody, Will and Joe here, welcoming you back to some more Pokemon Diamond Randomizer Nuzlocke here on Input Left. You may notice the scenery has changed a little from when we last met. We've returned to the Floroma Meadows and would you look at that? This tree shaking so pleasantly in the breeze. Now, if you're wondering why that is, it's simple. I did a little bit of research in between the last recording session and this one to see how the trees worked again, because I forgot that from when I was like 7 years old and I played this game. And basically I realized that the way I had it set up previously wasn't really going to work. So I did a little bit of, computer magic to change the time. Now we're in the evening, or actually we're at night now, basically. Slathered some more honey on this tree. And yeah, it's ready for us to get an encounter.
It's very cartoonishly gyrating. So I think it's ready for. Hopefully,
it's borderline seductive. Yeah.
I know. I mean, it's very rhythmic and in the middle of all these flowers. I think they considered removing this in the American release just because, the younger viewers, they were worried about the effect it would have on younger viewers.
I think they did censor some parts of the tree's bark, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the branches down below.
Right.
But I'm ready for it. Let's give this a roll.
All right. Without further ado. Munchlax?
Oh! Actually, I quite like Espeon. Here's
the slightly unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Technically, this is species clause because we already caught a Vaporeon.
No, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what this means is
kill it.
We're gonna have to come back and slaughter this tree again, and it'll probably be the morning when you see us next. So yeah. See you guys in what will seem like a few hours, but it's really just a few minutes. All right, we are back.
And better
it's the
than
morning.
Ever.
Better than ever, certainly. Let's hope we don't get another Espeon or something else we've already caught, because that would be slightly frustrating and eventually we'd run out of money.
All right, here it goes again. Okay. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Woo. Yeah. Well,
Glameow. My favorite.
Oh well.
All right. Here's a fun fact for you about Glameow.
Please.
Glameow. Oh, come on.
Can't be paralyzed.
I didn't realize it got limber. What the heck?
I guess that's the fun fact.
No, that isn't the fun fact. The fun fact is that Glameow, since Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, has not appeared in any region's regional Pokédex. What that means is that it is one of the few Pokemon. It has one of the longest droughts in Pokemon history of not being available to be caught just in like the main story of the game.
Is it because the developers don't like it or the players don't?
So here's my theory. My theory.
Yeah.
It goes like this. Glameow is unfortunately a very poorly implemented Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
The reason this is because it evolves at level 37. 37. Now, Glameow is not a strong Pokemon. So why does it evolve so late into Purugly, who at that point is honestly not very strong? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you don't get the chance to catch Glameow until right before the 6th gym in this game.
Mm-hmm.
So if it evolved at level like 25, which might be a more like reasonable level for it to evolve into Purugly at, given how strong it is and how strong Purugly is, then it would evolve immediately after you catch it, because you catch it at like level 30 or whatever, right?
Right.
And that's not really good, right? You don't usually want things to evolve right after you catch them. Just look at Sword and Shield, where you catch Grapploct before you catch Clobopus.
Well,
I know you don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're saying. It just sounds at this point, but
But people who play that game know what I mean. Like,
Okay.
you are basically forced to encounter Grappaloct, which is the evolved form of Clobbopus, before you can even find Clobbopus, because it comes at a really awkward point in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing is true of Glameow. Like, they were like, okay, well, we don't want it to evolve into Purugly after, like, one level, like, as soon as you catch it, so we'll just make it evolve at level 37. So what that means is that in subsequent games, if they aren't willing to change how it evolves, and of course they aren't, that if you put Glameow at a reasonable point in the game, which is like somewhere in the early routes, because it's not very strong, then you'd have to hold on to it until level 37, which is towards the end game of most Pokemon games, before it becomes like kind of okay. And that's just like a really difficult Pokemon to insert into any Pokemon game going forward. So they really, unfortunately, kind of screwed over Glameow. Now, I don't personally care very much for Glameow anyways, but if you did care for Glameow, I'd be pretty upset with the developers' lack of foresight there.
Well, now that we're coming to naming, I want to take into account kind of reviewing the things you said about it. Not very useful. Comes at an awkward point in time. Late bloomer. Not very good. Maybe good in theory, but doesn't play out correctly in the world around it. Could this be our Hillary Rodham Clinton? That's my suggestion. Open to.
So I was really hoping to wait for like a more robotic sort of Pokemon
True.
for Clinton, but there's no guarantee we'll get one. I don't know if Clinton is an especially big cat person. I don't know if you know any female politicians that seem like cat ladies, but
no,
I think Clinton's a solid choice. Yeah.
The other alternative I'm thinking of is Betsy DeVos. Could this be our Betsy DeVos, famous the education secretary?
I kind of like Betsy DeVos because Purugly is literally a fat cat. And Betsy DeVos is literally just like a rich person, like who's inherited all this wealth, has this like huge family network of wealth, and goes around like trying to ensure protection for wealthy people. So yeah, I actually prefer Betsy DeVos. That leaves open and like there's something a magneton for Clinton.
This is true, and there's something about, I think, this kind of cat being, like it looks like it could be the pet of a school teacher. Little do they know it's the pet of a school teacher that wants to defund their academic programming and after school programming.
I believe that's how you spell it, right? Do you want to confirm that for me quickly?
No, I don't. Actually, that's fine. I think that.
yeah, you're right.
I love that you have the giant capital V. Is very, very good.
I think that's how it is spelled.
Okay.
But even if it isn't, who cares?
Who cares?
All right.
Not worth our time.
Well, we will travel back to Eterna City to get some more encounters and do some more things over there. So we'll catch up with you in a few minutes. And we're here, back in Eterna City. How is it going, Joe? How are you feeling?
That sounded like you're impersonating one of our friends.
I was actually impersonating a character for another video game.
Okay. Who is it?
Yeah. It is Nia from Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Okay. Going well. I just learned yesterday, I think, either yesterday or this morning, it came to my attention that SpongeBob, much like Dr. Seuss before him, was canceled. And
is this about the? I think I heard about this, but go ahead.
Yeah,
tell the people.
So for those who don't know, I'm intentionally trying to be humorous about this. So don't think that I'm actually one of those crazy people who's like Dr. Seuss is being effed over by the Twitter mob. That's not. To get the facts straight on both of these situations. Well, hopefully everyone knows the Dr.
You're
Seuss
invoking a lot of controversies right now. Yeah.
I'm going to invoke a lot of controversies, and then we can tag them in this video.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
Let me actually skip to the SpongeBob one because the Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, let's focus on that. I feel like everything's been said about the Dr. Seuss one that needs to be said.
I hope so. I hope everything has been heard. More importantly.
Sure. Yeah.
But with regards to Mr. Sponge, the company pulled a couple of episodes out from the lineup, and one of the episodes was actually is no longer available to even like purchase or download. And one of those episodes I think is probably temporary. It's because it deals with a pandemic zombie apocalypse like scenario.
It's actually one of my favorite episodes when I saw this. It's the one where the health inspector comes back to the Krusty Krab and discovers a case of like clam flu, and they shut down the Krusty Krab and quarantine people in the freezer. It's almost more of like the Thing parody from what I remember than it is like anything else, because it's all this like mistrust and stuff. I remember quite liking it.
Is this a newer episode? Because I was not familiar with it.
I don't think it's like a classic episode necessarily, but I don't think it's that old either.
Okay. I think my strength lies in the first 3 or 4 seasons, and
I think that's true of most people, because that's the first 4 were all like Hillenburg, right? Like the original ones.
The first couple certainly.
Well, because I think the movie came out after the 4th one, the first movie.
The movies were.
That's usually that's usually when people consider the turning point is post film.
And I think there's actually some pretty good episodes that are continually, into the end of the show. Here and there.
I would agree. Good. Yeah.
It's just the style.
I think I think the quality overall is probably a bit less, but that doesn't mean there aren't still like good episodes for sure.
So the other episode was probably permanently cancelianoed, and that one is I tried to, it's like midlife crisis, something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines.
And you probably remember this episode, right? Because this is
no, I 100% know this episode.
Okay, and I rewatched it.
This is actually one of our favorite episodes, like as a family. Like we quote this one all the time.
I rewatched it this morning, and I had similar feelings. And actually, I loved it, even watching it again, and I thought it was hilarious.
Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Is literally a meme. It's not even just like something that we quoted individually as a family unit. Watching this when we were kids growing up, it's something that the internet loves. The concept of "Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?" Right?
Well, yes, and so I guess 2 points here. One is that I think they're right to pull it, but 2, I think it's
hard to argue with that.
I think it's. So when I was a kid and I watched, so the story goes, it's basically Mr. Krabs. He's having this midlife crisis where it's so hilarious. Like the number of jokes per minute in some of these older episodes is so good. Like they're just hitting it joke after joke after joke. And I really appreciate it even more as I get older. And every like 30 seconds, every minute is like a punchline about how Mr. Krabs is old, right? And one of my favorite moments in this episode that I always remember is Pearl goes, it's coral now. Like,
it's not cool. I forgot that was in that episode. Actually, that's such a good joke.
And so instead of "that's cool," she's like, "No, that's coral."
Right.
And so Mr. Krabs responds, "Oh, okay, am I coral?" or something along those lines. Right? He starts using it, and she's like, and she calls her friends, and she's like, "Coral's out."
Yeah, we're going back to cool.
Yeah, like he really did.
That's great.
The origin of that kind of cringe culture,
Oh yeah.
But it's a very funny episode. But even as a kid, I have to admit that the kind of ending of it bothered me, or I knew it was like.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah.
I knew it was a little weird, and I knew even as a kid that it was kind of a little inappropriate.
Right.
And I think if it were like a cartoon for adults, that would be totally different.
Yeah. Or if it had come out in like the 80s. Obviously it would still be bad in that case, but like I feel like even at the time it released, like that was sort of like an outdated concept, the whole panty raid thing. Yeah.
And I think like it's parodying it, right? It's a joke about like
for sure.
The punchline is that it's
literally his mom's. Yeah. And also the punchline is that SpongeBob and Patrick don't do panty raid. Like that, they're not like cool people doing like a fun thing. Like, but yeah.
And so it's not even that it did it. I mean, I guess it's less to me that it didn't age well, and more to me that it was never really a joke meant for kids, and kids can take it the wrong way as they do. And I think it goes back to the fact that a lot of the old episodes of SpongeBob had a lot of jokes geared towards adults who were, you know, in a place to kind of process and understand what the joke was.
There's like a classic line from the end of the episode where SpongeBob adopts the clam, right? The clam flies away. Patrick is sort of fills this like father role, right? Over the course of the episode, SpongeBob's more of a mother.
I know what's coming.
At the end of the episode, Patrick turns to SpongeBob and says, "Let's have another," and SpongeBob's face like goes like, "Oh no." And then it cuts to black, right? That's the end of the episode.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure in one of the older
things
episodes,
like that.
he's like holding a, like, there's something about like a prison, trying not to use the word, he drops like a dropping the soap joke that's made.
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah, there might be. I don't remember.
And a lot of it, I think, is like in the early days, they weren't 100% either. I don't know if it was that they weren't 100% sure who their audience was, or they knew that there were adults in the room that they wanted to also entertain.
I think it's more the latter. And I think that is one of SpongeBob's, at least early SpongeBob's, great strengths. But at times, you know, adult humor has always kind of been kind of awkward, I think, in some ways like that, right?
Also,
so I think let's put a pin in this because, we don't want to just have the audience staring at the screen for the whole time. Yeah. Bastiodon, male Bastiodon of
this is someone very hard-headed.
Yeah, but I think more than that, like extremely defensive. You cannot break through their defense. They are a bastion of whatever it is they stand for, quite literally. Maybe a dinosaur, maybe a bit of an older person because they're a fossil.
Oh, okay, yeah. One of the classics.
Now, this is almost like a Bernie character if you think about it, right? You know, somebody who always stands for what he believes in, kind of a fossil. Like this is like an old Bernie, since we already have Mayor Bernie. Don't know if we want to double dip like that just yet.
No.
Someone along those lines, right?
I hear what you're thinking. Like Jeremy Corbyn.
You know what? That's kind of what I'm thinking, actually. Exactly. The British Bernie, as we call him.
Yeah, for all you. Also, we don't endorse some of his foreign policy positions, probably, and I'm sure he has controversies, but
I don't actually know. I think his foreign policy is pretty good from what I've seen. Do you have like specific things about him that you're aware of that you don't like?
I think he was a little war hockey, but I don't know. I've heard.
Well, maybe that would. I mean, Bernie was a little war hockey even back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know if he still is. I don't think he still is, but
either way, I'm glad Bastiodon would make a good member of our team. I think potentially.
Yeah, I think it's time to replace either Azumarill or that is Greta or Sotomayor, because that water type redundancy isn't ideal. All right, quickly back to SpongeBob. I think we've said most of what there is to be said on the issue. I just want to note that the midlife crustacean episode was actually stopped being aired by Nickelodeon back in like 2018 I think. It's just that Amazon and a few other digital platforms more recently pulled it from being individually purchasable as a single episode. That's my understanding.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so it's not like a new thing necessarily. It's just like more retailers are sort of following suit.
Right. And much like the Dr. Seuss controversy, this is actually just the companies that have the IP, the companies that are using it, right? Responding to the times. And, you know, it's not like there is some mass boycott movement of SpongeBob or anything.
Yeah.
This is just about making sure that kids are not getting the wrong idea from kids shows. So.
And you can notably still get this episode if you really want to watch it again. It's just a bit more difficult. Like, I think if you buy the entire like second season, it still comes with that episode. It's just like you can't buy it individually on some platforms. It's not like they're going out and like grabbing people's DVD collections and like erasing it from their DVDs or anything, right?
Well, I just Googled it and found it on Daily Motion, and that's how I watched it this morning. So.
What did we just pick up, by the way? I completely missed whatever it was we just picked up.
Was it the Dark Pulse?
No, we had that for a while. Was it Stealth Rock? No.
Rock Polish?
No. I thought it was a TM, but maybe it wasn't. Is it? It's not the Odd Incense.
Oh, I'm gonna have fun editing. Because the viewers saw what it was, probably.
Oh yeah, they're probably upset. Maybe
Helix?
it was the
Was it
second
the Helix
magnet, I
fossil?
don't know. No, we had that for a while too.
Okay.
Oh well.
Oh, whatever.
Probably wasn't that important.
Yeah, so that was my morning reliving, and actually it made me really want to rewatch the classic SpongeBob episodes again, which I've been meaning to do, but I don't think I found a good. I don't think I even know like where I go to do that. Is it HBO Max, or is it Amazon Prime? Well, Amazon Prime, I think you have to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't know exactly myself. I mean, I saw a few digital platforms that carry SpongeBob, but I don't know if you just wanted to stream it where you would go necessarily. Nickelodeon does have their own streaming platform, like Nick Kids or whatever,
Really?
Nicktoons, something like that.
Hey,
yeah, that's where I watched
you heard about that Camp Sponge or whatever.
Yeah, at Camp Coral, but I was just gonna say that's where I watched Legend of Korra and Avatar before they came out on Netflix.
You watched them on the Nickelodeon streaming
platform?
platform?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, what a loser.
Oh. That's not a loser thing, because I did it before they came out on Netflix, which makes me more of an OG fan than most people.
No, yeah, you're good. Well, yeah. I'm trying to remember if I'm the one who pushed you to watch Avatar, or you had already like watched it.
I've been considering it for a long time. Okay. And you, I think, had like, you know, when we discussed it, you'd been like, "Oh yeah, you should watch it." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been meaning to, just never gotten around to it." For context for the audience, I had seen a couple episodes out of context as like a kid, but yeah, I wasn't like, I had never really watched the entirety of the series, didn't know a lot about it. I had a great time.
And now you're a super fan. But you haven't finished Korra, have you?
I still am trudging through season 4. Yeah, I think I'm gonna come around and finish that pretty shortly. Yeah.
I would say definitely it's not up to the first one to me, but there are some really great themes explored, and animation still lives up to it, definitely. And
I definitely like the ambition of Korra in a lot of ways. Yeah, doesn't quite deliver on it all the time, but they're clearly trying to do it, and at least for the most part in most of the seasons, they're trying to do like big ideas, cool character moments, etc. Apparently Hillenburg said that he never wanted there to be like spin-offs of SpongeBob like that, right? And they basically waited. What's going on?
So now that he's gone, this is the perfect time for them.
Exactly. Like they announced Camp Coral like not very long after his passing. Man, they switched into water absorbed Lapras. That's kind of cool.
You see, I really am kind of convinced now that SpongeBob isn't going anywhere, and that's a belief that I didn't hold like 5 years ago. I definitely thought, you know, it's losing steam, it's gonna end, and it's our generation will meme it for a long time, but that's it probably. But now I'm really feeling like SpongeBob is another Mickey Mouse character that's gonna be redone over and over again for every generation, you know, and milked to the ground, right?
I think that's possible. Yeah, I don't know.
Camp
I think
Coral, the extra movies they're coming up with, right? They can keep redoing SpongeBob the same way. Like, I don't know if you know this, but there's like 8 different Scooby-Doo series.
Oh yeah. I know Scooby-Doo is like I think you're right that SpongeBob isn't going anywhere anytime soon, but I do feel as though his popularity will degrade over time. Whereas like I think Pokemon is the real staying power. Like I know we're playing it right now.
As we play, yeah.
Not even just like the video games, but the anime and everything. Like I don't see Pokemon going away anytime soon. As many doom and gloomers there are about how like Pokemon is like a shadow of its former self, and like they're not ambitious enough. And though I do agree that there are some problems with the way that the Pokemon company manages its game development, I just don't think that it's borne out in terms of the sales data and stuff. I think they're going to be here for a while yet.
And technically speaking, I think Pokemon is as big as it's ever been in terms of influence. You know, it's kind of like when it was at its, when we view like retroactively as like its peaks, like, oh, you think 90s when it was the big cultural phenomenon and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, those audiences were still smaller, right? It was a predominant among so many people, but the recognition of Pokemon just gets more and more global and more intergenerational. And we're at the point where, sure, it feels like there's more competition, obviously, that is kind of at that level, but between like people in their 20s and 30s are playing it, but also kids continue to pick it up, and there's fans of every kind of generation of the TV show. So I mean, I think it's just in raw numbers, it's probably as big or bigger than it's ever been.
I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, if you just look at the sales data of Sword and Shield, they are, I think, they're either the second or the third best-selling Pokemon games of all time. I think they're the second. I think they eclipsed Gold and Silver. They're only behind Red and Blue now.
And if that Pokemon Arceus does well, who knows?
Yeah.
Time to invest in Game Freak.
They're not a publicly traded company.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Yeah. Nintendo is, yeah. Oh, okay, finally. Brought down Ninja Boy, whatever his name was.
Ninja Boy. Do you know that fists and shurikens kill more people every year than guns?
Fists and shurikens combined, or just fists and just shurikens?
Exactly. Fists and shurikens combined.
Okay, well, isn't fists pulling like a lot of weight there?
Okay, so not only is it pulling a lot of weight, this is also not true.
Okay.
Let me explain this. So, did you hear about this thing about hammers killing people and needing to be regulated?
No.
Oh wait, this is actually the most hilarious thing. So
okay.
Also hilarious and also very sad. So you heard about that like GOP rep who had the guns behind her, and then she removed them after the shooting.
Taylor, or not Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert or something? Like, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she goes on
the
TV.
gun lady.
She went on, I think, during an interview, and she said, hammers and fists and I don't know, there's something else. Oh, and feet kill more all individually kill more people every year than guns. Feet? Are we gonna regulate? Oh yeah, I think referring to kicking.
I mean, well, that's what I imagine.
I hope.
Don't know what else. Yeah.
And she said, so you know, should we be doing background checks? This is a literal quote. Something along the lines of, should we be doing background checks on hammers? Not on people buying hammers. On hammers.
What?
And so, you know, I was thinking there's a million reasons why that's illogical, right? Like, people aren't buying hammers.
Hammers also have utility other than killing things. You know, that's a pretty relevant
right.
point.
Like, guns are exclusively for killing unless you're target practicing.
Maybe you use them to start a fire if you're out in the wild and you don't have any matches. I don't think that would be very practical though.
But so there's a million reasons why that's, you know, even if it were true, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it
it's not
sense,
a
right?
like a relevant argument at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But also it turns out it's not at all true. And fists and feet and hammers combined kill about 700 Americans every year, and then guns kill over 10 times that. So it's not even like ballpark, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I just
why am I not surprised?
Yeah. So, and yet she removed the guns from the background of her like Zoom so that it wouldn't upset. So she wouldn't get too much negative feedback after the mass shooting.
That's funny. Yeah, Lauren Boebert is a really interesting character. If you look into, I mean, obviously she got a lot of, I think, infamy for her "I'm bringing my Glock to Congress" ad. But she also literally runs, like, with her husband, a restaurant called like Shooters, I think, back in her home state, which I forget where it is. It's somewhere in like the Southwest, I think. And like all of the wait staff is like required to be strapped at all times. Like they all have guns on them.
Oh my
and
lord.
Like, you can see there's like most of them are female, and there's some like, you know, Bobart certainly makes this argument that like it's sort of meant to be like an empowering self-defense thing for a lot of these women. And there's like almost some argument there, but surely that's one of the most dangerous restaurants to eat at, even though obviously conservatives would tell you otherwise, that it's one of the safest, because anybody at any time, when the waitress has her hands full with your platter, bringing over your food, you reach over, grab her gun out of her holster, and you can light up half the people in the restaurant before anyone takes you out, right?
Right, and well, I'd be concerned, do they have a license to sell alcohol? And I imagine yes, and that is a very scary thought as well.
Good point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh man.
I think she's also been arrested and stuff for other things with her husband. I don't remember what that's all about, but yeah.
Yeah. So if you're
really fun new, sorry, I was just gonna say really fun
ahead.
new characters being unlocked for the GOP every 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're watching this, hammers don't kill people more than guns at all. Like not.
I could have believed fists if you just go with like any like beating battery in the world. I wouldn't actually be surprised if that's true. I also wouldn't be surprised if it isn't true. But if you told me that, somebody I trusted told me that, I might go like, oh really? Okay, I guess that makes sense. But also not surprised to learn it isn't true.
Right. I had the same reaction.
If we're talking about civilian conflicts, I would almost expect that to be true. But if you include like military conflicts, then I'm like, no way.
Oh, and I think I want to make a correction, because now that I'm remembering it, I think it said all blunt objects and fists combined is around 700.
Okay.
So not just hammers, like all deaths by blunt object. You know, we're still at a scale of like 10 times more gun related, you know, murders.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. She didn't say all blunt objects. She said hammers, but just to give you
specifically
a
hammers. Yeah.
Also, if we can get a Pokemon that learns Wood Hammer, I'd love to, you know, make a tribute here.
I feel like it's just like Torterra and Abomasnow in this game that get Wood Hammer.
Okay.
I might be forgetting some.
And we have to name Abomasnow after our...
Oh yeah, there's literally no choice if you get Abomasnow.
Right, yeah. But the other, Torterra, though, we can do that.
Perhaps. But it has to be female, which is unlikely for Torterra.
Oh, okay. Even with the randomizer, it's the same...
It's the same gender ratio, yeah, which is like 18 or 80 something percent to like 12.5% or something.
So what are we doing here in baby game?
In this gym, they changed this in Platinum to make it arguably a more interesting puzzle. Though I don't hate it here. In this gym, basically, it's like hide and seek. You just have to go find all the trainers and fight all of them. The one slightly weird choice they made is that you have to do this totally linearly. Like, there's only one trainer to find at the start, and after you fight them, another trainer appears somewhere else in the gym that you have to go find. And then once you fought all of them, you can fight the gym leader, basically. Yeah, a little weird. Yeah, this episode there's actually been a couple tough fights, and then obviously we had Garchomp was a bit scarier a couple episodes ago.
Oh yeah, that was that moment when we thought we were gonna lose like at least one, maybe two.
Yeah. I feel like the difficulty is definitely ramping up, and I expect it to continue to do so.
Snorunt, good mon. I'm not really sure what it is, but I like it.
I'm a big fan of Snorunt. I liked Snorunt a lot. He's really cute.
Does he evolve into that gray looking spiky dude?
I think so. I'm trying to parse that into who he evolves into. So Snorunt can evolve into Glalie, which is like the big floating snowball with the horns.
Yeah. That one. But it's a branching evolution, no?
Yeah, in this game they added an evolution. Female Snorunt can evolve with the Dawnstone into Frostlass, which is an ice ghost type.
Right.
Yeah. I think this is the last trainer.
Lindsay.
Oh
Lohan.
no! Speak of the
Ooh,
devil.
okay, that's
Oh,
this is for Joe Biden and
This
all
is
that
for
you
the
took
president.
from us, you monster.
oh wait. I don't think we have much to worry about because its moveset is probably not that robust.
Oh, you didn't do much damage there.
No, neither did it.
True.
And I think Thunder Shock is probably the strongest move it can use against Cheney, so...
Raikou, use Thunder. Oh,
That's a little annoying. We have Shed Skin, though, so could be worse.
are you gonna consider switching out here, or?
I
never
was,
mind,
but...
never mind.
yeah, I was thinking about it, but... No, don't need to.
So what's our level cap here?
22.
Okay.
So we've got a little bit of grinding to do. Mostly we have to grind up Jeremy Corbyn, who I think is going to join the team now.
Right.
He's
gonna bring back.
So yeah,
Bring back labor.
Yeah.
Unionize the Machops.
get Keith Starmer out of there. Not a fan of that guy. He's turning the Labor Party into like the U.S.'s Democratic Party.
Oh.
And yeah, I think that should strike fear into the hearts of Britons and Americans.
Yeah, they already have at least one, maybe two parties for that. Why is he?
Exactly. Like the Tories are already the Democratic Party.
Right.
So. All right. Let's just take a quick look at our friend Corbin, and then we can end this episode.
Sure.
Oh, and Betsy DeVos has
Oh
it
yeah,
for us.
right. Okay,
TM87.
TM.
Wait, I know what that is. Tell them I got swagger. TM87. Tell them I got swagger. Oh, that's one of my favorite.
Oh, he's adamant. That's perfect.
Classic Pokemon raps. Sturdy. I think it also gets Rockhead, so that's kind of a disappointment.
Oh.
Or possibly Sandvale. Oh, so who is it between Greta and Sotomayor?
Get rid of Sotomayor. We need the
We
ability
need
of
young
Greta.
blood. We need young blood, yeah.
Mhm.
I think you're right.
That's not exactly what.
All right,
this
then.
is. Okay. All
We're
right.
going to do some grinding off screen, everybody. And
Yeah.
when we come back, we'll be ready to take on Gardenia, the second gym leader. So
So
we
stay
hope you join us
tuned.
then.
Stay tuned for that next gym leader. In the comments, please name your favorite episode of SpongeBob, and also your favorite canceled show or episode of anything.
Or person, yeah.
Or person. All right, stay tuned. Input left. See you next time.